The all-new MGZS is here. It's arrived for 2025 with some mind-bending hybrid tech, MG's new family face, and a whole new look interior, which, like that hybrid tech as well, pretty techy too. And of course you get that MG value. But it's here, we are set to drive it, and this is New Zealand's first drive. Welcome to the garage. Subscribe to see the first drives of New Zealand's newest and best cars driven on New Zealand roads in New Zealand conditions. There really is no other way to put this. MG are on a tear. In the past few months we've driven the all-new MG3, the all-new HS, which is the bigger RAV-sized MG SUV, and also the Cyberster, which, well, we can't really compare to anything because it is the only electric roadster on the market. And MG have another 5 years, 5 models on the way in the next 12 months. So we better not muck around with this drive because the new model will probably arrive before we get back the way they're going. So what is ZS? It's a compact SUV. I think cars like the Yaris Cross, the Hyundai Kona, it's a very cluttered segment, even when you just factor in the hybrids, or in this case, a hybrid plus. When you really push on, all the motors work together, including the generator. It flips around, becomes an electric motor. The result of that is 469 Newton meters. It's like a sort of an overboost. And this little SUV suddenly really gets up. More on that later. First, let's look around. Like I mentioned, the ZS gets the new MG family face, and like most new cars, it has grown. It's 107 mils longer, it sits lower, it's slightly wider, and has a touch more wheelbase, as in an inch more, than the old model. Now what that means is plenty of room in the back for a 6-footer like myself, both headroom and legroom. What you don't though get is a centre armrest. I should mention this car also has the black on white optional interior, which looks quite premium. It's vegan leather, by the way. It's a nice way of saying PVC. And because it's the Essence, you get the full length sunroof, the leather steering wheel, and some 18-inch alloys. While we're talking spec, we may as well chat prices. At Giltrap MG, the new ZS starts at $36,990 plus on roads. That's for the Excite, which comes with the same power and tech as this Essence, which is $39,990. Now you can find out more about this MG or any of the MGs, in fact more than 1,000 cars right now on giltrap.com, where you can browse, compare, finance and purchase all online. Right, back to the ZS, and let's talk some info. The boot is bigger too, one of the biggest in the class in fact, at 443 litres, 84 more than the old car. I told you it was bigger, and seats down 270 litres bigger at 1,457. By the way, the ZS will tow 750 kilos. So yes, you do get a lot of car for that money, and with a 10-year 250,000 kilometre warranty. When we drove the Cyberster, I commented on MG's point-blank refusal to go retro, and well, it happens here as well. Let's be honest, the Octagon is MG's symbol. It's been trademarked since the 1920s, but it's not on show here. In fact, instead you get these hexagons, which really will dominate the dash more than the displays. And what's interesting about them is I'm getting just more than a hint, and I'm sorry to get geometrical here, of Lamborghini Huracan. Here, just see what I mean? Okay, let's leave all that hot air, cold air, whatever it is behind, because the rest of the setup in the ZS is sharp. There's 2 12-inch screens looking after the show, the displays are easy to read, and the touch screen is the best yet in an MG. And there's also fast buttons below the screen for things like volume and climate control. Well thought out and easy to use on the move. You know what, that's our cue to buckle up and get on the road. This car really is in the sweet spot in the current market. It's a compact SUV and it's a hybrid. That is what people are buying right now. So MG have got that one right. This car though is a hybrid plus. And I don't know if I've been dreading this or looking forward to it, but I'm going to explain what Hybrid Plus is, because the first thing I've got to tell you it is, or isn't, is some gimmick. Here we go. 1.5 litre internal combustion engine, 4-cylinder. That's straightforward. Then comes the tricky bit. There's not one electric motor, but two. One is a motor, one is a motor generator. And that is where the Hybrid Plus comes in, because what that all means is this car can be powered in 4 different ways. First is EV mode, which I'm in right now. Purely driving on battery, and thanks to 1.84 kilowatt hour battery, I can get some proper speed out of this. I've seen close to 90 k's an hour. MG told me around 30. They're way under. We're doing 60 right now. Now the motor has started up. It does this under lighter modes, but here's the thing, it's ticking along at just over 1,000 RPM, and all it's doing is generating electricity through the generator, the other electric motor, if you like, that's part of this system. It's not driving the car. The car is still being driven by an electric motor, with the petrol motor just being a generator. Now I've increased the load, and I had to watch very carefully because it's seamless, but now we are being driven along like a normal hybrid. The 3-speed gearbox is now taking the drive through the motor and sending it to the wheels, with the electric motor just providing extra power when it's required to, like an old school hybrid, if you like. All the time though, the generator is still working away. It's taking power out of that internal combustion engine to keep the battery juiced up. But here's the thing, it's a double act. And this is where the Hybrid Plus really comes in. I did wonder why MG didn't just have the internal combustion and a single electric motor generator. Because when you really push on, all the motors work together, including the generator. It flips around, becomes an electric motor. The result of that is 469 Newton meters. It's like a sort of an overboost. And this little SUV suddenly really gets up. And that's the plus. Look, I know that's a lot to take in. Trust me, it took a lot for me to understand it enough to explain it in less than 20 minutes. But the beauty of it is there's a power controller, the other part of that power unit that takes care of everything. It decides what to do. All you've got to do is enjoy smooth and economical power delivery. The result of all that is impressively smooth and frugal too. Officially 5.2 litres per 100, but according to MG, they reckon it will do much better in the real world. Which, let's be frank, is the opposite of what normally happens. Safety-wise, this car comes with a full MG Pilot safety suite, and as I've said in our MG3 and HS drives, it is super strict, but those warnings can be turned down. The one thing ZS gets is the MG iSmartphone app. It's got a lot of those features you get on apps with other brands, but I love this one on the MG. Say it's a stinking hot day, you're in the mall, it's climate controlled, you might be watching a movie, and you know you're going to get outside and the car is going to be an oven. But no, you can look at your phone, see what temperature the car is at in the cockpit, and tell it, I want the car cooled down to a more pleasant temperature. That's pretty cool, literally. Speaking of tech, 360 parking cameras and sat-nav are standard across the range. So too is CarPlay and Android Auto. But note, they're not wireless and there is no wireless charging. This is a noticeably better drive than the old ZS. It's been lowered, the suspension's been firmed up, and it feels nice and tight. It's a nice, secure drive. I say nice, secure drive. The steering wheel, leather clad, does feel nice, but it's not adjustable for reach. Although I have heard that that's because this is an early production run of the car, that when they arrive next year, the steering wheel should be adjustable for rake and reach. For now, this is just a huge jump forward over the last ZS, and I know the price tag reflects that, but the amount of value you get, well, is even greater. But then you have to factor in the whole hybrid plus factor, which I know is a little complicated to explain, but on the road, it is simply awesome.